Hello everyone and welcome back to another Speedpaint, and today I'm doing like a voiceover on it. So today I am actually drawing Honey's death. For those of you that don't know, Honey is the friend of one of my Wings of Fire OCs, Ruby, and her story is just a whole other topic for a whole other day. And yeah, basically Honey was her friend that died. Um, Due to a certain NightWing. I I don't even know what he is at this point. I think it's a NightWing Sea-Wing Green-Wing hybrid. You know what? It's a dragon that I hate, and we're gonna leave it at that. But basically, I don't even know what I'm talking about. Somebody save me. But okay. Basically, what I tried to do is I tried to put it at an angle where Honey was kind of like towering over Honey, or Honey was towering over Ruby in front of her, kind of trying to protect her from the NightWing. Um, while Ruby's kind of like in the back, super confused, like, what's going on? What in the world is happening? Save me? Why does this keep happening to me? And yeah, that's basically it. So I drew Honey's like legs and stuff. Geez, the wings were a challenge, and so was the head, to kind of like help me get an idea on like where they would be. This whole angle was difficult for me to do because I've never done a dragon in this angle before, so I was kind of honestly relieved to do the Nightwing, but also like kind of about ready to murder it. This stupid evil smirk or. Also, it's like super annoying to me when it's like I have what I think is a really good arm or something, but then my mouse like glitches out or something and like completely messes it up. And basically, whenever that happened and the thing irritated me, I just kind of scribbled on the dragon because I kind of hate the dragon. But yeah. So while I was drawing this took me like an hour 15 minutes. And while I was drawing this, I had my Beth Crowley songs like on randomized repeat, but one of those songs is Monster, and while it's not the focus of the let's just watch me completely scribble out the Nightwing for a second. Okay. Uh I have Monster as like the the theme song, I guess, for Ruby. Not for young Ruby, but for old Ruby. It's like young Ruby and old Ruby are two completely different entities. Like, you can't put one up against the other, sort of. I feel like. Or at least I can't. It's like, it's kind of like older Ruby and her sister Diamond, because her sister Diamond is basically like her as like younger, just a tad bit more naive and like a tad bit more trustful, I guess. But I kind of thought that it would be cool here to do like, I guess, like a little like scene of like when she actually her actual death, because despite the thing being called Honey's death, it's more like Honey trying to protect Ruby more than anything. Um, got something in my mouth, I'm sorry. So I decided to like put little pictures on the side, sort of the of her actual death. And I actually decided to try, like, to attempt to do like a reflection in everyone's eyes, not in like the actual eyes of the main piece, but of the little pictures. Basically what I did was I had Honey's reflection looking at the NightWing. Yeah, I'm just gonna call him Misfit so I can stop calling him a Sua NightWing. Um, Isfet's reflection on Ruby and Ruby's reflection on Honey, so it kind of goes in like a triangle or something. I put like teeth on Honey because I felt like her mouth was way too empty, but I kind of regret it because it looks super weird. I was having a little bit of a difficult time trying to find the right like black color for Honey. Before when I was like doing a little bit of a reference thing for her, more like just coming up with her more overall design. Um, cause it was like I wasn't sure if I should do like a brown black or a red black, or I didn't really know what kind of black to do, so I finally settled on like an orangey black. Where it's like it's black enough that you can tell it's black, but it's also got like the brown in it. So yes. Oh yeah, and then here's where I got the idea to try to reflect, which I have no clue how to do reflection, so I just stuck the opacity at like 50% and went with that. So yeah, it was a little tricky to do the eyes because I had such a limited amount of space. So it was a little hard to do eyes and eyes, so I kind of turned the like, I don't know, the width on the brush down for it. Uh, Originally I was thinking about also doing like the background of it, like the ground beneath Honey as well, but then I realized, wait, I also want to be able to like show Ruby's eye color, which actually is the whole point of her name. If Ruby's eyes weren't red and like Ruby, then it sure probably wouldn't have been named Ruby. Honestly, I had no name idea for Ruby, and so I was like, oh wait, she has ruby eyes. Why don't I just name her Ruby and leave it at that? So yeah, Honey too was actually named for her eye color, and because she's for the most part black. I mean, she's definitely got the big orange wings and such, but at least half of her is black, so she wasn't named for her coloring. She was named for her eye color. Honey, I feel like Honey's got not too much backstory, but like just enough to kind of, I think, get her character flow sort of in place. But none of that backstory is ever expressed, so I guess I can probably express it here. So basically, Honey was taught to like steal her food from a young age. Well, she kind of taught herself because her mother just didn't like her very much at all. So she taught herself to steal food, basically kicked herself out at 6 years old, just kind of survived. And then she ended up finding Ruby when she was like super duper hungry, and they kind of instantly clicked, and Honey got a little protective of her. And so yeah. And Honey's personality was just kind of that was her personality from birth, whereas Ruby's personality got formed and shaped over trauma and trauma and trauma. So I kind of have fun like comparing and contrasting the two against each other, like, because to a degree they have similar personalities, um, but they both got it in different ways. Honey was just born with that personality. A little bit of it was from kind of basically raising herself in the scorpion den. Whereas, like I said before, Ruby's personality was formed upon trauma and trauma and trauma. Why are you not plugged in? Okay. Apparently, my laptop unplugged itself. Whoops. So, yeah. Um, no, I mean, as far as Honey's relationship with Ruby goes, there's really not much to say about it. Ruby pretty quickly, like, felt like Ruby was her best friend because she was the only friendly person or dragon she'd really met. So she's like, this is my best friend and I am never letting her go. Um, and so that's why she was so like best friend protective of her. And then she went into the scorpion den, which Ruby just didn't like at all. There were way too many dragons for her. It was way too crowded and she just hated it. They went out, met a guy. Honey kind of protected slash killed a guy, the same guy, that didn't like her. Actually, scratch that. Like, nobody likes Honey, because Honey stole everyone's food, and a lot of dragons overreacted to it. Um, and then I'm pretty sure they head off to the rainforest for some reason. I don't remember why. And then Honey dies. And then Ruby gets super scared and runs off, and then she's like, alright, you know what? I'm done running. I'm gonna get myself some training, and I'm gonna stop, like, I'm gonna make sure that this stuff stops happening to me. Um, Honey's death was the main encouragement of that, also because she, at this point, had kind of gotten a little bit of a hint of a vengeful side to her. And she's like, I am going to go murder that Nightwing, which actually her daughter ended up doing. Much to her dismay, actually. Yeah, Sahara's Stone hasn't recovered from that. Jeez. Why do I make the weirdest characters? Like, the thing is with me, it's like, most of my characters are made to, like, vent. It's like, if I make them, like, traumatized and stuff, it's like, I have something going on in my life and I'm venting it through these characters or through writing. And that's actually kind of what got me into the fandom role playing in the first place, which is where Ruby came from, which I am so glad I did, by the way. Um, was like I had stuff going on in my life, so I went ahead, I started popping onto the fandom, and then there's the one roleplay that popped out, and I'm like, I need to know why these dragons are vanishing, dang it. And then it just kind of bloomed a flower from there. And I sat in that roleplay for like half the year. And I loved that roleplay for half the year. And I still do, and I will remember DCA fondly. Clearly, because one, I'm animating it, and two, like, I'm still drawing it, and drawing it, and drawing it, and drawing it. I've been working on, like, scenes for Ruby and Phasmid's first meet. It's just, I don't know, I can't quite get the aura right. It's like, the thing is with Ruby is that Phasmid reminds her a lot of Honey. And so it's like, I was trying to get that effect, like a sort of underlying tone of, I guess, familiarity, I guess, or startlement, while also keeping like the tense tone that's on the surface, while the two have their stare off, and I was failing miserably at it. So yeah. This piece definitely isn't one of my best. In the future, I will probably most definitely come back and most likely redraw it or update it or something. My original thing was I was going to attempt some lighting, like a shadow looming over Ruby, because in that moment, it's like literally she had a shadow looming over her. And that's where her whole psychotic rampage, I guess, began, was, well, Honey's death was what pushed it. Uh, Her parents' death didn't affect her as much as Honey's did, because her parents went weird and freaky on her and, like, literally attacked her multiple times. So she didn't feel as crushed. Don't get me wrong, she was completely crushed by it, but she was more completely crushed by Honey, and Honey's death was what pushed her to move forward and actually do something about her past instead of continuously running away. So, basically, Honey's death was what encouraged her to actually learn how to defend herself so that, she would be able to help anyone else in that situation. But then she discovered that her whole go killing people thing kind of made her feel better, because it's like the way it got taken off of her. And yeah, it just all went so downhill from there. Anyways, guys, I hope you all enjoyed this video. Let me know if you want to see like more voiceovers like this. And I will see you all next time. Bye bye.